Hey all, hope everybody's doing well. Welcome to episode, I think 5. This is 5, yes, of the Cover Band Show. We didn't do one last month. We took a month off, but we're back and we're talking cover band stuff. And for the episode today, we decided we're going to focus in on gear. Now, because we are both, Denskil and myself, are both guitar players, this is going to be a very guitar centric episode because I don't speak drum and I don't speak bass, but I do speak guitar. So that's what we're going to be talking about this evening. So let me bring him in here, my co-host, Denskil Music. How's it going, man?
Good, good. How's it going?
Not bad, not bad. New guitar day, new guitar day.
There it is.
There it is. Holy, not the holy grail, but a nice strat. So one strat comes in, one strat leaves. I'm selling the strat. It's on Facebook Marketplace and Kijiji. So if you're in Ontario, have a look. If you're in the States, you got more strats that he can shake his stick at. So,
Now,
all
is,
right,
is that a
let's.
is that a cover band guitar?
Hey, yes, I am doing a show in about 2 weeks, and that's going to be the star of the show in 2 weeks' time. Yes, and then I got a whole slew of every weekend in April. So, it depends, right? And we'll get into it. The venue determines kind of what you should bring, but we'll talk about that. All right, let me just say hello to the people that have joined us. Quentin is with us. Quentin, how's it going? Tim Thomas got in here early. Nice to see you. We have R2 R3 locking on. How's it going, buddy? Lars Guitars, how you doing, man? Papa Blue, welcome. All right, we got 8 people. Hopefully it'll grow. Hopefully we'll get some more people in here. So yeah, it all depends. Like I mean everything. I mean, since we're talking about gear, um, everything really depends on the venue. That'll kind of shape what I'm going to bring, right? Because a lot of it literally has to do with real estate. Real estate and, you know, is it a shady place or it's not? It's like those are the two criteria, right? If it's like a non shady place and there's real estate, meaning I have somewhere that I can put a cabin ahead and my big pedal board, which I'll be showing. We'll talk about pedal boards today in a bit. I'll bring all that stuff. If it's like the place I played last week, where like you're literally on a postage stamp, where I can't take a step in any direction, then that'll be a different guitar. It'll be a lesser guitar because it's gonna inevitably the headstock is gonna bash off the cymbal because that's how tight it is, and it's gonna be my very tiny pedal board. So I have all of those things so that I can sort of gear myself up to the place and amps too, right? If it's a smaller place, I got my trusty Marshall DSL 40 and you know, and that's what I'll use. What about yourself? How do you determine what gear is appropriate for your places?
Well, I'd take those two things into consideration for sure. Like one is, how big is the stage? Can I get away with a combo amp or a head and a speaker cab, which would be a 2x12, which is all, or I could get away with a 1x12 depending on the size of the venue there. But also, yeah, is the place sketchy? Is it a dive? Is it a dirty armpit that I'm playing in? Like, is someone, are the drunks getting too close to my stuff? Are they going to
Yeah,
spill beer everywhere on top of my crap? Because that's annoying, and that happens, right?
it happens. Yeah,
And yeah, am I going to knock my instrument against the wall, or are people constantly walking by in front of me, and like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
You're like, are you playing beside the bathroom? Like that's, you
yeah.
know,
And you got to move out of the way so they can get to the bathroom. I've played
uh,
those gigs. There's a
yeah,
place in Barrie it's not the bathroom, but it's like the entrance to come in and out. And they
yeah,
even have a sign up that says when the band is playing, use the other entrance.
right,
I guess it's in like I don't know hieroglyphics or something because nobody
yeah,
can read that, and they just keep
absolutely.
fucking yeah, it's ridiculous. But
Yes, yeah. So, but I've tailored my cover bank. I mean, like you said, we'll get into what we're using a bit later. But I've tailored it to be as small and kind of as portable and as less space taking as possible. and it's always two guitars. That's another thing that I'm kind of a stickler for. I usually, yeah, just you
Do you
never know
put
what's
them?
gonna happen.
Do you bring like so you bring them out and you have them on the stage with you, or do you leave like one in the car and you bring one into the building?
Yeah, I'll bring it in. I'll cram it somewhere. The thing and the blessing and the curse with my cover band is that we've got two guitars, keyboards, bass, and drums. So and a singer. So
Yeah, no room.
we got is we're limited. We can't play super small places. So wherever we play, it has to have enough room for at least that. And I don't think two guitar like basically I have a tri stand where both me and the other guitar player can put our backups there, because we both use guitars with Floyd Roses, and we all know what happens when you break a string on a Floyd Rose, right?
Yeah, it
You
goes ape shit. Yeah.
you need another guitar. So
Yes. Yeah. Hence, I don't have any Floyd Roses.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, or floating bridges, right? Like even
Mm,
even
no floating
Strats,
bridges.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
so
like that strat and all strats come with floating bridges, and I had that one decked because what you just described. And the other reason is, depending on who I'm playing with, because I'm in one band that gigs all the time, and the other one is sort of like a fun project thing. And the fun project is E standard tuning, and the one I gig with is E flat. So I'm always going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And if you've got a Floyd, that's a nightmare. So
I wouldn't do it. I just no.
yeah, yeah. No, the two guitar thing is interesting because I mean, I've had guitar fails. You know, I've had E strings that just decide to unwind themselves in the
Hmm.
thing, and I've had that happen a couple of times, and yeah. But I usually what I do is one stays in the car, one comes into the play because again, they're usually tiny and there's no room to stick. I literally some places I don't even have enough room, barely enough room to put my guitar stand. You talked about like a tri stand. Even if I had like my mic uh, stand has to have like if it had a tri stand, it wouldn't fit. I have to use the heavy round bass ones. Those are the only ones that I. It's all about just getting smaller and smaller and
Oh yeah.
smaller. Yeah, we got a few more people that joined us. I just want to say hello to Gussie Wells. How are you? Uh, that's Jowls 2023. How you doing? Papa Blue, if I haven't said hello, hello. Cool. Yeah, we got a few more people in here. Yes, so we're talking gear. I can hear myself echoing. I think you need to turn me down on your thing just a touch. Okay, so let's look at um I'm gonna look at first I'm gonna start with my baby pedal. Now, I don't know what before we get in, what kind of material is your cover band doing? Is it like a really wide variety, or is it just kind of all rock, or do you need like a whole bunch of sounds, or
Yeah, so we specifically play Canadian 80s music. So it's like new wave, some hard rock stuff, a bunch of pop stuff, like very synth based, very keyboard heavy.
mm,
So I need a mixture of like and some hard rock stuff too, like some, we're playing like Innocence by
Harlequin?
there you go, thank you.
Harlequin, yeah,
Yeah.
love that
So
song.
yeah, so
Canadian,
yeah, it's all Canadian, all 80s. Like that's
yeah.
our brand basically. So yeah, there's a few different tones in there. Some hard rock tones like we play some Aldo Nova. So like, there's like that's all Les Paul or
You guys do
Marshall
fantasy? I used
or
to do
yeah,
fantasy. Yeah,
fantasy. Yeah. Like
fantasy's great.
that's
Dun,
exactly what
dun, dun, dun,
dun,
dun.
dun. Yeah,
Yeah,
that one.
love that song.
So
Yeah,
yeah, that song rocks, right?
yeah.
So we do that, and your songs like "Your Daddy Don't Know," so that's a little more
Used to do
Marshall.
that too.
Yeah, a little more classic rock though, right? Like not as
Yeah,
you
yeah,
punch you in the stomach.
yeah. That's
So
Toronto. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
mm.
Yeah, so that's where we're aiming right through the middle. So I need some different kinds of gain. I need chorus, delay, reverb, compression. All of those typical 80s sounds, that were used back then. So yeah, how about you?
Well, yeah, I mean, we do 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, all decades. So I mean, some of the 50s stuff that we'll do would be like, I mean, we started doing Don't Be Cruel, because of the Elvis movie, and there's a little bit of an Elvis resurgence, so to speak. We do that. So that's, perfectly clean, stuff like Summertime Blues, stuff like that, Eddie Cochran. But, and then we do a lot of Beatles stuff from the 60s. We do, a lot of Beatles stuff. We do a song by, well, we say it's, we kid that's from Tiffany song, but we do the rock up the Tommy James. I think we're alone now, and
Oh
then
yeah.
we do actually a really good version of it. Kind of rock it up, and it sounds cool. And we do, 70s, so like, some Cheap Trick, a lot of Cheap Trick. We do Kiss, stuff like that. 80s stuff. What do we do from the 80s? Oh, stuff like Jenny Jenny and what's the other one there? Rick Springfield, Jesse's Girl.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Then we do some like 90s punk stuff, like, pop punk, like some Green Day stuff, Blink 180. No, is it Blink 180? Is it Blink 182?
What's
I
the name
can't
of the
remember the
song?
band.
Do you know the song?
Um, da-na-na. I don't know the name of the song, but it starts off with da-na. Anyway, but yeah,
Oh, that is Blink 182.
yeah, it's Blink 182.
What's my age
Right.
again?
No, it's not What's My Age Again. I don't know. I can't. I got to go look at a set list. I don't know half the names of the
I've
songs, but
seen you
once I
guys
see them,
play it. I know which one you're talking about. I just can't
once I
remember
see
it.
it, it's like, oh yeah, yeah, no, no. Again, as soon as I
Yeah.
see it, I know what it is. And then, yeah, so a variety of sounds, right? We
Yeah.
do Dancing with Myself. There's another 80s tune, right? So yeah, so I need all that stuff too, right? I need a good clean sound,
Hmm.
right? A good clean sound. I need delay. I need a couple of drives,
Yeah.
right? Like a lighter drive for stuff like Jesse's Girl and or what I like about you, the Romantics, because we do that too. Stuff like that. I need little bit of crunch
Some
and
twang. Yeah, you need some
yeah,
twang too.
yeah. We do Boys by the Beatles too, and a little bit of crunch on that sounds good. And but then then I got a heavier drive, and that'll be for the Green Day and the all the sometimes you're doing talking about love, and, so you need the heavier gain for that. So and chorus, of course, right? Gotta, that's it. Because out of my mini board, that's like the like I literally have the bare essentials on that. Like
Hmm.
every pedal I just named is on that board. I don't even have room for a friggin' tuner on it. Well, the board's the one I bought off you, right?
Hmm.
I don't even have a room for a tuner on that.
Hmm.
But yeah, but that gets me, I can go through the whole gamut with that, right?
Yeah.
And you're turning certain pedals on for certain tunes. It's not like I rarely do I have more than two pedals on at any one time, right?
Right.
So like I'm very minimalist in that sense, right? I want people to hear the guitar, not a whole bunch of effects. I want the
Well,
guitar to sound like a guitar.
that's an interesting point. Like, what are your thoughts on like trying to get as close as possible to the sound on the record?
Well, I mean, really, you want to get in the ballpark.
Hmm.
The way I look at it is you want to get in the ballpark. You want people to recognize that, recognize the song and have the sound kind of like
As
be
close.
within as like to
Yeah.
match, right? Like, so I mean, I give you an example. Like we do Start Me Up. I'm not going to do Start Me Up with heavy gain. I mean, it's dumb, right? So you're gonna use a light overdrive and lots of reverb, right? That's the sound you want for that, right?
I hear Quentin's guitar playing right now with his heavy tone.
Those heavy tone, yeah, yeah. Oh, some more people joined us. Cole Gray, welcome. Hey, Janice, how are you? Joe DeLenza, nice to see you. Wally in the box, how's you doing? Cool, we got some more people joining us. Awesome. Yeah, so so you can't, at least I can't, with the handful of pedals that I just mentioned. I can't zero in, but it's it's going to be within the ballpark. Just like this, you're playing the song, it's going to be recognizable. Well, the tone kind of has to be recognizable, or at least kind of make sense. And that's why you when the guitar wise, I don't like switching guitars. If I have a second guitar, it's a backup. So I don't want to like, oh wait, we're doing this song, put a guitar down, because you got to be like pumping them out, bang, bang, bang. When you get people up, you can't, they see you going for a guitar, they're all going to sit down or go to the bar, and then it's like you're starting all over again to get the
You got to,
momentum going.
yeah, you got to hit rapid fire, man. Like,
Yeah. So and so the guitars that I get, or I use, they all have to be, literally a Swiss Army knife, right? I mean, this is a Swiss Army knife, right? Single hum, right? On a Strat, you can do anything with that, right? So, that's the other part of it too. You got to have a guitar that can kind of cover all this sonic territory, and the pedals that'll kind of get you in the ballpark. So it's kind of, it's both things, right?
yeah,
You
for
know
sure.
what?
I'd say the amp is part of that scene too, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Of course. Yeah.
You don't
The
want to
amp.
be
Sure.
showing up with like 100 watt Bloody Marshall at a a tiny little bar,
No. Well, you
or
want to have room.
yeah, and you just, yeah, it's just overkill. Yeah,
You might as well be out in the parking lot.
yeah, you can go across the street and play the show.
Yeah. So just as sort of a visual aid, since we're talking about the small board, and I'll ask you to show your board here in a minute.
Ooh,
So here's my little baby board. This is my little baby board. Used this on Saturday. Just played a show last Saturday. And I had a technical malfunction, speaking of which, with this little board. So, doing sound check, sounds cutting in and out, making farty noises. I'm like, oh shit. I hope it's not the tubes on my amp, because I just replaced the tubes for the same reason not too long ago. And every time, and I noticed it was always when I was hitting this pedal. And then I thought, oh, maybe it's the patch cord. Replace the patch cord, move the pedal. Still got that crazy noise. Turns out it was the cable that joins the little patch cord going from there to there. Replace that, play the whole night, no noise, perfect. So, shit that happens, right? And always like 5 minutes before you're supposed to start. But anyway, here's my. This is I paid $40 for this pedal. Okay, it's a K-Line Pure Sky. This is one of the best light overdrive pedals I've ever heard, and it's $40. So there's a secret for you. If you're looking for a really good sounding light overdrive for cheap, it's Chinese pedal. I've done I don't know how many gigs with this now, at least 50 or more than 50. Never let me down. What else have I got here? Well, actually, I'll start from this end. So this is my light overdrive. That's a Triumph, the Wampler Triumph pedal. It's a new pedal, just came out. It's killer. Light overdrive sounds great. When I want to go for the throat, I got a Lawrence Petros 87 pedal on the green channel. That's my Lawrence Petros makes awesome stuff. That's my heavy drive. There's my Corona Chorus TC Electronic. There's my delay, Alter Ego, Wampler as well. And then the $40 pedal. So, if you tell me a song, when you're looking at the set list, it's just a matter I'm turning stuff on and I'm turning stuff off, right? We're doing Jesse's Girl. The only pedal I would have on is this. Nothing else, right? You don't want any delay on that. You want that to be clean and dry sounding. So when you get to the solo, you hit the delay. I'm using this for a lead boost. Bang, bang. So it's like, what you're going to use when you're going to use it. You pick any song off any song I mention, and I can tell you, which pedals I'm going to use. We're going to do Dancing with Myself. It's going to be the chorus. It's going to be delay, and it's going to be the light overdrive. And then when the solo comes, lead boost. Then that's off. So depending on the song, right? Some songs you want some delay. Some songs the delay, it waters down what you're playing. So usually this is not an always on pedal. Actually, none of them are an always on pedal. And that's it. That into what I used last week, my Marshall DSL 40, and again the secret sauce with most amps, before you put in a board, set them up on the verge of breakup, and then you throw these in front of it, and it'll sound good. Pedals in front of a super clean amp don't sound good. There's my mini board. What about yourself?
Well, my little guy's over here, so I'll hold this up to the camera so folks can see. It starts over here with the oops, oh, my camera's backwards here. Starts over here with the Wampler Ego compressor. Being an '80s band, compression is a big part of that sound.
Yeah,
This is the Origin Effects Hot Rods Compact Edition. It's basically um, kind of a medium, light to medium, and yeah, I'd say sort of like a Marshall in a box, but not really. Like maybe a '70s Marshall, so medium distortion. This is the Jackson Audio Asabi, which has like a tube screamer on one side and like a Marshall, hot rodded Marshall type, like hard rock sound there. This guy here is the Plethora X3 from TC Electronics. So it's got all the TC Electronics modulation and like utility pedals in it. So I'll run maybe three pedal boards at the most. It'll go like you can switch pedal boards just by tapping on the buttons. So I'll have a pedal board with like say chorus, delay, and reverb, or a noise suppressor, chorus and reverb, noise suppressor, echo and delay, or sorry, echo and phaser or something like that. Just for I'll dial in certain sounds that are good for certain songs, right? So this is like my multi effects, and then at the end when I need a lead boost, I got the EP booster, which sounds amazing there. So just give everything a dB boost at the end. So yeah,
what a
this.
difference! What a contrast! Hey, this is like I'm playing with crayons.
Well, I carefully curate all my shit, right?
Oh
Like,
yeah, one pedal on that board is worth all of these combined. Let's say it. Like
yeah. Well,
I finger paint. What do you do?
well, I did get
That's hilarious.
I did get my Wampler used, and but yeah, no, I need this board to be like 100%. And flexible and usable. So like you said, like it lets me kind of rap fire songs out, right? Like next song comes up, like within a second, I'm ready, right? Like effects wise.
Yeah,
So and I use my board the same way as you. Like nothing's ever really on. Like at the most, I'll have two, maybe three pedals going. So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
and when you rehearse, like when I rehearse, the rehearsal is not just rehearsing the songs, but it's making sure you're quick with your,
changes, yeah,
it changes from pedal to pedal. Next song comes up, bang, 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 you're ready to go, right? I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, and and the sounds like I kind of before we start, right, even before we do any sound check, like I'll kind of have a rough idea where every pedal should be, and a lot of that is based on the guitar, right? Because if you're, like last week, or last Saturday, I played a P90 guitar, right? I got
Right.
that I have that tribute, right? So I had to kind of revoice my pedals a little bit according to that guitar because it's lower output guitar and whatever, right? And so I'll tweak that, and then because I mean my sound check really is the first set, because that's when we're playing at some
Full
kind of
volume.
volume, right?
Yeah.
And I'll bend over and I'll tweak a couple of things and this and that. Usually by the second set, I kind of have my sound dialed in, but yeah, and I'd much rather move knobs than get into menus, man. Like, cause
Oh,
that's just, I just want to move knobs, right?
yeah. It's
It's very
terrible.
tactile, very, again, I'm a minimalist, right? Give me, like, I'm like a knuckle dragger, right? You know, easy to control, easy to turn on and off, and easy to troubleshoot too. Like that,
Yep.
a bad patch cord, that's something you can
Yeah.
fix right away.
Like I don't like having like a spaceship of a pedal board when it comes to a cover band thing. I like to have it keep it simple and just use basic sounds. And one little bonus thing that I figured out because I was in the multi effects world before, and I had patches set up for every song, and it was like so hard to tweak and adjust, but also it makes you lazy. Like if you just relying on a multi effects to hit one button at a time and like turn on a whole bunch of stuff, Like I find that by having to look at my pedal board and think ahead a little bit, what's the next song, get my tone quicker. I'm thinking and I'm picking up like what the sound, what how the sound is working according to the song. So I'm learning the song better. Like I'm getting the song under my hands, under my feet. I know, like I make a little mental connection, sort of like a little mnemonic device in my head that says, okay, I'm playing this song next. That means I'm going to need this tone, and I'm going to, that means, especially for this part of the song, I know this change is coming. I have a solo coming, so that means I need to kick this pedal on. So I get two for one. I'm learning the song, and I'm learning how to use the right sounds for it at the same time. So, yeah, it
Well,
just
I
ties me better to the music, basically.
we got a question here which I'll answer in a minute. Hey, John the Dark Wizard, join us. Rick Hefner, join us. Hey, guys. Yeah, just one quick thing I wanted to mention about the whole processor thing. So I don't know, was that a year ago or 2 years ago? Actually, you ended up buying it off me. I was toying with the idea of using an HX effects instead of that, and the problem is, you're in your house and you set up what you think is okay. That's that'll work for that. That'll work for that. That'll work for that. And then you go to rehearsal, and then when you're playing with a real live drummer and a real band, and all of a sudden now you're tweaking, and not to tweak, you got to get into the menus to do that, right? Now you're at a rehearsal, you have the time to do that, but then you get to the gig, and then you're going to tweak again. Like it just it make that's why I love just having the knobs. And the other thing too, I find, and I think you discovered the same thing, is that those multi effects, the ones I've messed with, anyways, they do modulations great, but they suck at overdrive. All of them
Uh,
just suck at overdrive.
yeah.
Any one of the pedals on that board will blow away any overdrive I've heard on a multi effects. Now, mind you, I haven't used them all. I haven't used a Kemper or Axe. I haven't used any of these. I don't. So, but the boards I've used, which are, I had a Boss board for years, and I had the HX effects there for a while. Yeah, they had like King of Tone, Prince of Tone, Joe Blow's
Models.
tone.
Yeah.
It just didn't. I'm sorry, I could not dial in anything that sounded anywhere near as good as a pedal. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, we have a question here. Yeah, if you have questions, folks, throw them in. Oh, what was that question now?
I saw a comment there, a question from Giles there,
That's it.
2023.
There he is.
Yeah.
Do pedals make you a better player, or are they a distraction?
That kind
No,
I think that kind of goes to my point, like in terms of like knowing the song. It won't make you a better player. Like you're not going to get
no,
faster or better, but it'll
no.
help you learn. It'll if you're not worried about your pedals, like if you got them set up and you know how to use those, you can worry more about your playing and playing the song better, right?
Yeah.
So, and yeah, I,
The pedals are they're a tool. That's all they are. Is they're a
yeah,
tool, right? Like, if you're playing a variety of material, right, which we both are, we're playing the gamut from clean to to dirty to in between, and you can't get those sound. I don't care how good a guitar player you are, you can't make your guitar overdrive, okay? Like, and you're going to need things like delay and sometimes chorus and this and that, because if you're playing a song that people recognize, and there's a just like there's licks and stuff that are like integral to the song. Sometimes the tone, like, that song can't be played without a chorus in it. It just doesn't sound right. There has to be certain things in there, and those ingredients to kind of bring you, again, put you in the uh, ballpark of what that song's supposed to sound like. So, yeah, yeah, they don't make you better. Not at all. If anything, it's another learning curve. It's like, okay, now I'm doing this. Now I got to know how to, and honestly, like pedals, they take years. I mean, my to get to a point where you're happy with what you have. I
yeah,
mean, I can't tell you how many. I mean, I sold 3 pedals, and I got another 2 for sale there. I can't tell you how many times it's like you think, okay, this is it, man. This is like, oh, the setup is, and then, oh, wait, oh, wait, there's that. Oh, that pedal actually does that better than that. Next thing you know, this one gets ripped off, and that one gets put on, and you keep tweaking and tweaking and tweaking and tweaking, to get
yeah,
to that point where, like, you're happy. Like, this, for this 5 minutes pedal wise, I'm okay, but that could change at any time, right? But for this 5 minutes, I'm good with my pedals.
yeah. Well, I mean, these days, like in the past, Like when I was growing up and started playing, like there was far fewer options and
Yeah, it
technology
was
available,
all
right?
Boss back then.
Boss, I remember Boss, DoD, and
Yeah,
MXR,
DoD,
and
MXR. Yeah,
MXR. That was it. And Behringer had some cheap shit. I
the
think back
plastic ones.
the
Yeah.
plastic ones that I never bought.
Hmm.
But that was all that was for a while. And I think Michael Easter had a good comment about the race car driver rehearsing his gear shifts when he's on a like choreographing gear shifts on a course.
Yeah.
I think if you once you learn how to use the pedals, right? It's just like with all the pedals that are available, there's a huge learning curve we all have to go through. Is like if you want to get a good fuzz or a good gain, like oh man, good luck. Like you got to really know what you're using, how your guitar reacts with it, how it communicates with your amp. Like I can't remember how many pedals and stuff I bought that I thought was crap because I was plugging it straight into a Fender Clean Hot Rod DeVille, and I'm like, oh, this pedal sucks.
No.
I'm using the wrong amp for it, right? Like I
Yeah.
didn't know back then, like
Yeah.
when I was young, like that, metal zone into a Fender amp, it's
Yeah.
not a good combo,
Yeah.
right? Like
Who let the bumblebees in the house? Yeah.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
but what did I know back then? So I think learning how to shape your tone is a skill. Like it's in your ears, it's in your it's whatever comes out of your hands. You have a huge amount of power and ability to change that and shape that with the choices you make and the combinations of things you plug together. So
And I mean, this kind of does it make you a better player? No, but I find that if my sound is sort of in the ballpark, I'll feel more confident about what I'm playing because it fits. Do you know what I mean? Tonally, it fits
yeah.
tonally. But yeah, getting into pedals and is that. I mean, that was a journey that I started when I got back into playing like 10, 11 years ago, right?
Oh.
That was like a huge learning curve, right?
It
getting
is,
getting
yeah.
into that. Michael Easter's saying Helix FX sounds like it would be handy though. As
Oh
far
yeah.
as I know, there's only two buttons on it though, right? So you'd still have to scroll through patch to patch, so that might be an issue. You know,
Hey,
like a Helix would probably be a better fit because you have more. You can just go song one, song two, this sound, that sound. But with only two, I don't know. I don't think I could do it.
I think two quick things to answer the question. Does it make you a better guitar player? I would argue that it does because it makes you think about how you sound and your ability to
Yeah,
to shape your tone. Every really great guitar player, you always hear people say, "Wow, that guy could pick up anything," and they sound like themselves. It's because I think their ears are really trained and really good at knowing how to get sounds and get tones, even out of less mediocre equipment. So you could throw a guitar and some crappy pedals at a really good guitar player, and they'll make it sound like something. They'll sound
because they
like
know how to work the gear. Yeah, that's a
they
whole other skill. That's a
that.
whole. I mean,
So I think it makes you a better player in that way, right?
yeah, and tonally, yeah, not physically,
Not physically. Yeah.
but tonally, yeah. Like, I mean, I've been around people that this amp is shit, right? And
Mm.
then, well, it's because you don't know how to use it. And I know how to use it because I have an amp that's the same as that. But if you've never experienced an amp with a master volume, for example, right?
Yeah.
And then you don't, oh, this thing sounds like crap. Well, it's again, the more gear that you play with, the more, what's cool is we go to these, like, you and I don't know if you're going to rehearsal studios, but I'm going to rehearsal studios like once a week for the last, I don't know, God, 10 years or something. I'm going tomorrow to a rehearsal place and I'm going again on Sunday. And each place is going to have a different amp, a different head and a different amp. And I don't know what I'm going to get. Sometimes I'll get a head that I've never worked with before. Like, how do I get a sound out of this? Like if you throw a dual rectifier in front of me with 15 friggin' knobs and switches and this and that.
I
Yeah, I
love
know.
that. I
I
love
know.
that shit.
Well, it I know how to dial in a sound on that, right? But at first it's like, holy shit, I just wanted this thing to make a sound. Like, so it's that kind of thing. But it's all, it's all exposure, right? How to get a good sound out of your
Yeah.
amps, and each amp is going to be a little bit different, right? Like, when you have a mat like my combo, and it's a huge difference because the Marshall combo that I have, I've got a DSL 40, which I think sounds stellar, right? The crunch, the heavy gain, I'm not a fan of, but the crunch is really good on that. But the secret to that is you got to crank the master volumes, put them on 10, and then use the channel volume, and it'll sound great. But if you
It's,
take that
yeah.
amp and you do the you do it the other way, you turn the master, and then it just sounds so limp and dead, it's lifeless. It's like, this amp's shit. Well, no, it's not shit. You just don't know how to use it. So yeah, so there's a lot to be said with pedals, knowing how to get them the way you want and the order that you want. Your pedal board, you have the compressor first. A lot of people do, oh, I put the compressor here and it sucks every time I hit it. It's noisy like crazy. Yeah, because it's raising your whole noise floor. You got to put that first. Stuff like that. There's, again,
Little
like that.
tricks. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a whole learning curve.
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely. Those are little tricks of the
You
trade
know.
and lots of experimentation and, research is involved, like if you're planning your pedal board, especially for a cover band, I think it's really got to think about, the size of the real estate, but what sounds do you really need and how are you going to
Yeah.
use them with what backline, right?
Yeah,
And
well, yeah, different amps too, right? How they're going to
yeah,
react with different amps, and
yeah,
I'll tell you who really helped me out when I was like totally, total noob getting into this stuff was the Pedal Show. Those
mm,
guys, was it Dan and
Mick,
Mick?
yeah,
Yeah, those guys are phenomenal, man. Those guys, they taught me so much, man. Like, everything I learned getting started was from those two guys, and everything they said to do worked. It's like, set
yes,
your amp on the edge of breakup. That's how I know that. Okay.
yep,
And master volumes, and that's all those guys. They taught me everything, man. Those guys are amazing, and that's why their channel is so big and they're so doing quite well, right? Because those guys are geniuses for that stuff. So
yeah, they've definitely made me poorer.
well, yeah, well, because they never show a pedal that's like, they'll never do an episode on my $40 overdrive, right?
Yeah,
It'll be like, the latest and greatest boutique guy, and it's like $500, and yeah, yeah, that's true.
yeah. So,
Yeah,
and
that's true, Michael. Yes, Michael Easter says, I mean, the pedal show is an entire channel ostensibly dedicated to pedals. Yeah, yeah, and they do a bang up job. They're great. I love those guys.
well, they do a lot of guitar stuff too. Like Mick's got a bunch
Yeah,
of vlogs about his strats and pickup things too.
yeah, yeah. They started doing that stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I have my second board, which I'm not going to belabor. Everybody is talking about boards is boring, but this is the second board, and this is as big as I get. This is like, the most I will ever use, and I say that with a grain of salt because who knows what's around the corner. But this has everything, and when I have the opportunity, meaning that I'm at a venue where I actually have, a little bit of floor space, I will bring this one out. So,
Now you can stretch out with this one. Look
all
out,
right.
folks! It's the Death Star.
But this is as big as I get, and this isn't really crazy. Okay, it's not crazy. It starts off with a tuner, of course. I actually have room for a tuner. Mini Crybaby Wah. Man, that is the greatest thing they've invented in the last 20 years. A wah that's that small, that sounds just like a full wah. And I've always been always a traditionalist in terms of crybabies. I'm it's never into like those other, boutique fancy crybabies. Just give me a regular crybaby wah and I'm happy. Spark Booster. This is actually, it's funny. I was at a music store today. And, getting that thing. And there was this guy around my age, and he's trying all these boost pedals, and he's complaining that they all color my sound, they all color my sound, they all color, right? And then I'm there with the sales guy, and I'm saying, get him a Spark Booster. I mean, that it's just a straight up raises your level, but it doesn't do anything but that. So next thing I know, I'm ready to leave, and what's he buying? Spark Booster, and I didn't get a commission, but anyway. So there's a Spark Booster. There's the Wampler Euphoria. that I got from you, that I bought from you. This thing is the best light overdrive on planet Earth, at least for
Uh,
this 10 minutes. I absolutely love this thing. I can get all kinds of sounds on it, but I only use it for light overdrive. But man, this is killer. Lawrence Heavy Drive, there's my Lawrence Petros 74. Love this thing to death. Okay. Then from there, there's my lead boost. This is a Tony Iommi Black Customs Laney pedal.
or Black
This
Country
thing,
Customs, right?
Last Country Custom, yeah, this thing is amazing. Okay. And me using it only as a lead boost is a crime because this can do a shit ton more than that. It's basically a treble booster. It's killer, man. For chorus, there's nothing better. If you want 80s, nothing better than a Boss chorus. I love this thing. And then there's my flashback delay, my reverb, and my always on. And this is something I learned from an individual named JJ's House of Jams on YouTube who said, put an EP booster at the end of every chain, leave it on at all times, put the gain to zero, and it sounds like you took a blanket off your amp. And you know what? He was right as rain. This is absolutely killer. This is the only pedal that is on all the time. Is that one right there? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
EP
with this,
Booster rocks. It's a
with
great pedal.
I can basically do everything and do it better than the other one, just because it gives me, a little more versatility and a little more option. Right? I can have a legit clean boost instead of using the one boost for clean and dirty. Right? Like the other board. But there you go. Yeah, love that. Love that board. It's all pedal trained too, by the way. I'm not getting any residuals from pedal train, but that's a pedal train board. All right.
What are you using for power supplies?
Oh man, there's only one power supply I use. uh, what is it called? The one spot or the spot one?
One spot. I think you got
The
a
one spot.
CS6 and a
CS.
CS12. I think is what
I
you're
have
running.
this. I have the CS6 on the baby board and the CS12 on the big board, and
Yeah,
those things are bulletproof.
yeah, they're pretty
Yeah,
good. Yeah,
yeah. The Voodoo. What's the other one called?
there's Voodoo Labs.
Voodoo Labs. Never again. I had a Voodoo Labs. One day I lose one output, then two, then three, and basically now I threw it out. It was a brick. They were all dead. So I'm off of
Yeah,
Voodoo Labs. One spot. I mean, between these two boards, honestly, I've done over 100 gigs, and they've never let me down.
yeah. The Voodoo Labs was all we had for a while as far as multi
Yeah,
power supplies. Like, and they kind of stuck with the same technology and never really changed. Like, all these years later, and so like One Spot came out, like or True Tone, I should say, is the name of the company. They came out with those power supplies. I think those are switch mode. I think, but they were way better, like thinner profiles. But like pedal train was pretty much the only option. Now you got all these different holy boards and all these different
yeah,
makers,
yeah, yeah. You got all that stuff.
all these different options. But I started with like pedal train and like a Voodoo Labs things shoved underneath and screwed in, and now then I flew the True Tone stuff for many years too. That was like the next level up,
Hmm.
and now I think the best in the market, and my whole fleet flies them, is Chalks basically. That's like the top of the line switch mode power system that you can get, and I noticed a difference. Like it's reliable. It sounds cleaner, like less noise. It's one of those boring things about pedal boards. Like how do you stick your pedals on? Do you use Velcro or
Well, that'll affect the tone.
absolute
Yeah,
100%. You got to use the right Velcro, otherwise your
I
tones.
bought this special Velcro from Lon McQuaid. They were
Yeah,
selling it. It was like it wasn't that much more, like not extra, like I don't know, $10 or something, and it
yeah,
was tone Velcro.
yeah,
And man, what a
absolutely.
difference! Sound wise, it was absolutely killer.
Yeah, yeah, totally. You can get it in different colors, which also affects the tone. But anyway,
We're being very sarcastic, by the way. All right, Giles 2023. How's the life scene treating you, Hack? Does it feel like work? No, man. If it was work, I wouldn't do it. Well, let's put it this way, right? There's the compensation is nowhere near what it should be for the amount of hours involved in rehearsing, the amount of money spent on gear to do the show. You know, and the reason why I bring that up is there's no reason to do it financially, in for what I do, anyways. The bars I play. So if I didn't love doing it, sure as hell I ain't doing it for money. I'm doing it because I love doing it. Right. That's the whole thing. Right. So honestly, like if a bar gives me like a sandwich and a beer and lets me make noise in front of people, I'm there. you know, and I'm getting up there in years. So, I'm already 56. But as long as my hands work and my brain can remember 50 songs a night, I'm going to be doing it until I get carted off. On a chair or something. Like, yeah, I just absolutely love doing it. And I mean, and the bars, they treat us pretty good. We'll get the sandwich and the beer usually. It's good. It's good. But yeah, I mean, the only reason to do this, is for the love of doing it. Because if it's a drag, you don't get along with your bandmates, or hate going to rehearsal. I mean, I'll be honest, sometimes I do get rehearsals is what drives me nuts, like. But you got to do what you got to do in order to do the gig, and basically you want to be on autopilot, right? When I'm playing a show, I'm on autopilot. I don't know what the next chord is before I hit it. My hands just automatically go there, and then all I'm concerned with is how do I sound? My execution, is it clean? Did I hit that note? I want to hit that pinch harmonic. I'm all thinking about that stuff in real time. I'm not, because I don't have to worry about, oh, what's the next note? Imagine that, eh? What's the next note? What's the next chord? I'm not saying I'm perfect. You always have your little blackouts, mini blackouts, I call them. Right? Everybody
Yeah.
has them.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
zone out for a sec, yeah.
yeah, and in 10 years you'll have more than you have now, I promise you. Right? But you're still able to basically deliver. And then at the end of the night, like using last Saturday as an example, I played a solo in front of, I don't know how many people were in there, 50, 60 people, whatever, and I got a round of applause. And I mean, that's killer. That's killer. It's like you feel like $1 million, and yeah, on guitar, we have, I love that. I mean, that's like all the years of struggling and all the rehearsals and everything else, and that made it worth it for that night. And that's what it's all about. You get a bunch of people excited, get them happy, get them bouncing. Mission
Yeah,
accomplished.
absolutely. The only time I've had experiences where it's felt like work, and that's because we played a really crappy venue. And when I say crappy, I mean the staff and the management were a bunch of bonehead turds. And this place, I wish I remember the name of it because I would say it, but it's closed down already, so it doesn't matter. But anyway, yeah, I got bad memories. So yeah, we didn't, they set us up to play during dinner hour, which was dumb. So we kept being told to turn down. They made us move locations 3 times during the night, and then at the end of it,
Holy
like
shit.
at the end of it, we didn't get paid, and I was ready to. Well, whatever. I won't say anything crazy, but I was pretty pissed off about it. We ended up having to go back and get paid. So that's when it felt like work. That's when it was a pain in the ass. Other than that, I totally agree with you. Like, you should be on autopilot, like having a good time. If you're having fun, the audience is having fun. That comes through.
Exactly.
That comes through in the music, right? And
Yeah.
there's a lot of work and prep, leading up to that moment. But when you think about it, like, you're on a stage playing for people. So many people wish that they could have that opportunity and could do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so many people look at you and it's like, wow, there's a cool, guitar solo, or I like what the drummer's doing, or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
That's
we
true.
have access to a special thing that very few people only dream about. Like,
Yeah. I mean, it's so hard to find a band,
yeah,
number one,
think of the
and
chances. Yeah,
have a band that sticks together and
doesn't
wants
hate
to
each
jump,
other. Yeah,
doesn't hate each other, wants to jump through all the hoops.
Yeah.
And then it takes years. Like I've been with this last band, I think I'm on 8 years.
Wow.
I've been there the longest outside of the guy who started it. But and I mean, yeah, humble beginnings to say the least. But the last, pre-COVID, we were on fire, and then COVID happened. But as soon as COVID was over and it opened it up, like boom,
Bang.
it just started up again, right? So, but in saying that, like back in the lean years when we were taking whatever, we did play a place that is on the lakeshore that I will, and we've been asked to go back there at this point. I don't know, maybe half a dozen times, and we keep saying no. The owner's an asshole. We're not going back there. Because we have agents, right? And the agents represent certain things, and they're like, oh, they want you to. Can you go? And no, not doing it.
Well, that's a
There's
good
a place
place.
to be absolutely, but to get to that point where you can say no, you
It's a
have
lot
to
of
have,
work. Yeah.
yeah, you have to have been around for years and have people that are finding stuff for you. Like there was another place we used to drive out to. It's a good hour and 15 minutes, and then you get there, and it was like, the place was dead. It was dead when you got there, and it was dead when you left. It's like, and we were out in the parking lot. We were going to go back there again, and we said, you know what? We don't want to come back here. We don't want
Yeah.
to do it.
It's
And we
just not
just
worth
told
it.
the agent we're not doing it. And then instead, and then they go, we got that spot filled in right away. I think that was the first Dickens gig we did that you were where the floor was going like this, all
Yeah.
the people jumping up and down. That was great. I'd rather do that than go there and play to nobody. So yeah, but again, it takes a lot of time, and you got to get your name out there and get some kind of recognition, right? Like
Yeah. You get a rep.
you
You
get a
get a.
rap. Yeah, we're doing a blues fest already. They contacted us. We did it last year. We got a blues fest coming up. We got another rib fest coming up. So this summer's going to be hopping too, which is cool.
That's a good place to be. I mean, when you have the option to turn stuff down, right?
Oh
Play as
yeah,
play as much as you want. You know.
when you want. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like we don't do Friday nights.
Well,
We don't
Friday
do
nights
Friday.
suck, man. Oh.
We don't do Friday nights. We haven't done Friday nights in years.
Yeah.
We're not doing it. We get offered Friday nights all the time. Nope, don't want to do it. But like again, like years ago, we're like Friday night because we were desperate to do gigs, right?
Oh yeah.
But now it's like, yeah, we don't do Fridays,
Yeah.
and we'll have enough stuff going that it's not gonna hurt us. Do you take public transportation to gigs or drive yourself, or are you driven to show? I wish I was driven to shows. That would actually eliminate a lot of stress because I could sit in the back and just listen to music. No, no, you can't take public transportation. I mean, I'm carrying an amp. Usually I'm bringing an amp. Well, I'm bringing everything with me, right? I'm bringing my amp. I'm bringing a guitar too. I'm bringing my pedals. No, if you have to have a car. There's no way, especially every place I play is if I'm lucky, if it's only 45 minutes away. It's typically an hour. Everything is an hour 10, hour 15. There's nothing close to where I live. Unfortunately, yeah. There's no way you could do it on the bus.
I have my butler get my helicopter ready.
Yeah, really. Yeah, yeah. And then when you get there, all the gear's already in there and it's already set up, and you're just like, click, ready to go.
Mm.
I wish. The closest I come to that is when I do these blues fests and that because they have a back line, right? So all I'm bringing is effects and a guitar, right? And we're only doing, I don't know, an hour or whatever. That's the closest I come to that, where I have actually a monitor in front of me, and the guy's like, "Oh yeah, I can hear you." That's the closest I come to that. But that's what we do, two or three of those things a year. So yeah. All right, we're coming up to the hour point. If anybody's got any last minute questions, throw them in. So we were talking. Today's topic was mainly gear. I guess we focused pretty much on pedals. If you enjoyed this topic and you want to see more of it, we can do a part two on gear because we can talk gear until the cows come home. Like, I just acquired more today. Um, but yeah, let us know, and we can do another episode on gear. If all you had was an acoustic guitar, you could take public transportation. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, you could. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of these acoustics, you know. But it's funny though because I find a lot of these places now that did the acoustic thing, they're now preferring bands. And the reason for that is they want people to get up, and people I think are enjoying the sound of a full band. I think it's moving away, my experience, from the places we play, because there is a place that we play a lot that used to do that, and now they're like, you know what? I mean, for New Year's Eve, they had that. They had like the guitars, the acoustic guitars, and all this, and they're like, no, 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 we want a live band. We want some, guitars and stuff. And I think it's starting to go that way. Getting back to the whole band thing.
Yeah, with that comes the volume tax, which that's a that's another thing that you sometimes have to fight against with clubs. Like, yeah, we want a band, and you can bring a drummer in, and it's like the drums are going to be as loud as they are, right? So, sorry, I'm feeling grumpy about that. I think that was a topic we talked about in another
Drums,
show. Yeah, well,
yeah.
just having as I guess it is related to this show, just in terms of equipment and having the proper pedals and amp that can keep up with a drummer, right?
Oh yeah,
Learning how to shape your sound so that you fit properly in the mix with your other instruments, right? So,
yeah. I mean, usually, in terms of like power, there's a huge difference between, first of all, tube watts and solid state watts. Huge,
ugh, yeah,
right? I've got two. I'm looking at them right now. I got a 20-watt head, a Friedman Runt, and I've got a Hughes and Kettner 36-watt head, and I can be plenty loud with either one, and I can play a whole night, no problem,
yeah,
no problem. You can do with 20 watts of tube power, right? My 40-watt, man, I'm lucky if I get that up to 4 or 5 at a gig, honestly. Because it's yeah. I mean, but if you go and get like a solid state, like, I don't know, everybody's hot on the Katana, they used to be anyways. You get one of those things and it's like, oh, I can't hear myself. Yeah, because even if you have 50 watts, maybe 100 watts, you can do it, but with 50 watts, you'll get buried so quick, it's not funny.
yeah.
Huge difference between tube watts and solid state watts.
Scary difference in the dBs that they put out.
Yeah. Oh, that's a if I play, what was that? If I play country, I can ride a horse to the gig. That's funny. All right, folks. So, in closing, so Denskil Music has his own channel, and it is in the description. I highly suggest you go check out Denskill's channel. He's a really great guitar player. He's got some great original music and some very nerdy, techie gear stuff in there. So if you saw that encyclopedia of pedals that he had there, he talks all about that and his exploits and gear experimentations. So go check out his channel. Um, if you're new to my channel, please consider, well, first of all, please hit the like button and please consider subscribing. And if you want to help support the channel, down below we have merch like guitar hack hats, there's t shirts, there's hoodies, there's mugs, there's a PayPal down there as well. And if you don't follow me, I have a Facebook, Guitar Hack Facebook group where a lot of people, musicians, put in different stuff and, you know, cool videos of them playing or like stuff to look at on YouTube, links and stuff, and good information in there. So join that, and there's also Guitar Hack Instagram, which is also down there. And there you go. All right. Any last things you wanted to mention, Denskill,
No, I'm
before we
good.
sign off?
Yeah, we'll see. Let us know the next topic. If this show gets a lot of views, we'll do another one.
Yeah, yeah. We're looking at 200. That's basically, if we hit 200, we'll do another episode. That's kind of like that's the cutoff. But all right, I don't see any other questions coming up. All right, I want to thank everybody for watching. Guys, rock. Have a great rest of your week, and we will catch you next time. All right, cheers.